Have you ever felt that you were special? And perhaps the world did everything it could to make you stop believing it. Loss of faith, nihilism, emptiness, or disappointment. You look at life, and everything seems meaningless. So who killed God within you? Was it you, when you abandoned your dream just to be like everyone else? Or was it society, when it forced you into a role you never fit? Friedrich Nietzsche said, "God is dead." But he wasn't speaking of religion. He meant that the old values no longer work. You were born a player, but they made you a pawn. Nietzsche was not speaking of religion, but of the collapse of the very foundation of human life. The world where everything was clear and ordered no longer exists. And with its demise, man was left alone, face to face with the void. Once, people lived knowing what was necessary: to study, to work, to pray, to start a family. Now this necessary has lost its power. It sounds hollow. Imagine, all your life you had a compass pointing the way. And then, one day, the needle froze. Now you walk in darkness, without direction. You may study or work, build a career, or search for yourself. But inside, the same question often arises. Why? Why wake up in the morning? Why follow a schedule? Why play by rules that feel meaningless? You look at society. People are running somewhere, yet their eyes are empty. You see it. Success, money, status bring them no real happiness. Their old meanings no longer live in their hearts. Their soul is lost. This is the death of God. When God is gone, emptiness takes his place. And this emptiness is terrifying. It gives birth to nihilism, the sense that nothing matters. Then everything becomes the same, day and night, work and rest, joy and suffering. It's as if you lose the very taste of life. This state is familiar to everyone. Apathy, fatigue, disappointment. In such moments, the world appears gray, and man stripped of all depth. But the death of God is not the end. It is a trial. The question is, if the old values have died, who will give you new ones? You? Or society, eager to turn you into an obedient cog in its machine? God is dead, and we have killed him. This phrase often sounds like blasphemy, but it carries something far greater. It is not about a particular religion. It is about the death of all the former foundations that once gave meaning to human life. For centuries, people believed in higher truths, in immutable order, in values that seemed eternal. But the 19th century shattered these illusions. Science, technology, industrialization, the growth of cities, all of it swept away the old structures. For the first time, man found himself alone, without absolutes and without support. Imagine, until then, everyone had a foundation, an invisible ground beneath their feet. Now it is gone. Man hangs suspended in the void. What gives him the strength to stand? Only himself. It is like having the roof torn from above your head and suddenly facing an endless sky, offering no protection, no guarantees. To avoid confronting this emptiness, people created new surrogates of faith: ideology, the cult of progress, the worship of success, money, technology. But these idols proved no stronger than the old ones. They too collapse, leaving behind the same inner void. Who killed God? Perhaps it was civilization, trading truth for convenience. Perhaps society, placing obedience above freedom. Or perhaps it was man himself, each of us, choosing easy answers over the search for our own truth. But Nietzsche does not stop at accusation. He says, the death of God is a beginning. It is an opportunity, because now, with the old values dead, we are faced, for the first time, with the chance to become creators ourselves. Most are not ready to gaze into this abyss. They hide within the crowd so as not to hear the silence inside, the silence from which a single question rises: what is it all for? Tired of hiding in the crowd? Ready to transform your mindset, reshape your identity, and become an Ubermensch? Follow the link in the description and watch lectures on taboo topics for free. Nihilism seems like liberation. You tell yourself, if everything is meaningless, then I am free. But in truth, this is a deception. Emptiness does not forgive. It begins to pull you downward. If you gaze long into the abyss also gazes into you. You stop seeing value in work, in relationships, in yourself. You look in the mirror and ask, why am I even here? From this state, apathy is born. And then comes something even more terrifying, the desire to flee. Some run to alcohol, some to drugs. Some hide in endless distractions just to avoid hearing their own thoughts for an hour. This is an escape from the silence within. But emptiness, it cannot be filled. No matter how many glasses you pour down, no matter how much you smoke or swallow pills, it only expands. You become a prisoner of your own abyss. And this is when the greatest danger arises. A person begins to believe that there is no way out, that life truly lacks any meaning, that everything is merely a chain of accidents and no hope is possible. This is the poison of nihilism. It does not kill immediately. It corrodes slowly, turning your spirit into ash. You no longer leave, you merely exist. You no longer build, you destroy. You no longer dream, you extinguish even the spark of desire within yourself. And if you do not stop in time, the abyss will consume you completely. When a person falls into the abyss, there are only two paths: to dissolve into the darkness, or to turn that darkness into fuel for a new ascent. This is precisely what Nietzsche spoke of. Where most perish, something else is born. Nihilism does not simply corrode faith. It makes a person an empty vessel. Many, when faced with this emptiness, choose to forget themselves in alcohol, drugs, addictions. They try to silence the horror of the fact that nothing lies ahead. But this is an escape that leads nowhere, except to slow destruction. Yet this horror has another side. It can become a trial, one that breaks the weak but tempers the strong. Nietzsche saw in this abyss not only ruin, but also the possibility of the birth of a new kind of human. The Overman is the one who passes through chaos and not only survives, but gains a strength he never had before. He does not accept ready-made meanings. He creates them. He does not seek external support. He becomes his own support. Where an ordinary person says, "Life is meaningless, therefore everything is permitted," the Overman responds, "Life has no meaning, therefore I must give it one myself." This is an act of profound courage, for it is far easier to drown in self-pity than to look chaos in the face and say, "I will not disappear. I will become more," Nietzsche said. Man is a rope stretched between beast and Overman, and indeed, we are always balancing between our lower instincts and the striving for something higher. The rope sways. One can fall into the abyss, but one can also reach the other side. The Overman is not a promise of paradise, not comfort, not a soft pillow. It is a challenge. It demands a courage that most do not have. Yet it is precisely this challenge that makes a human being more than just alive. It transforms him into a creator, into one who can give form even to chaos itself. Even the Overman receives no guarantees. Life remains unstable, painful, chaotic. It continues to test us with losses, the death of loved ones, sudden illness, the coldness of indifferent strangers. And here, one must ask the central question: why all of this? You can plunge into the abyss, into drugs, alcohol, the false promises of religions and ideologies. You can continue to live as if nothing matters. But then the abyss will gradually consume you. Or you can choose another path. Not meaning as a ready-made answer, but meaning as an interactive strength. To live as if life itself is sacred, even in its chaos. It is a terrifying choice. It offers no comfort. It promises no reward. Yet it is precisely this choice that makes you a human being who stands above fate. And now ask yourself, do you have enough courage to love life unconditionally?